Awfully.
It's nice to be back on. Sorry, everyone. We were gone for a couple of weeks.
A couple.
Well, it's 2 weeks.
Well, it's not the weather that scared us
you were gone a
off.
little bit longer because the last time I did it, 2 weeks ago.
So
Actually, it was 3 weeks ago. You're right.
we've been running and chasing our tails. There's so much stuff going on in Meade County, and obviously, you know, everybody knows that I'm the guy that bought the paper, so that's been keeping me busy. And Mark himself with candidates and things. It's a primary season, and we're gonna get into it. Let's talk.
I mean, just regular work stuff, man.
I know it.
Cool stuff.
Paper's doing pretty good. Got a e-edition out today online. You can download it at meadecountyky.com.
And hey, you know, for a long time we did not. My wife and I did not have a subscription.
Thank you.
And today,
you
we
did.
We came back and got our subscription.
I got a bling right on my phone, so I was like, Mark subscribed, so it's very cool.
Is that cool? Well,
That is very cool.
I wanted to make sure we support. I
appreciate it.
I like what I see happening in the paper now, and as far as the coverage and things.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel very good about coming back and bringing back my subscription. And and you know, we didn't always have a subscription. I usually buy it weekly. And we did continue to buy it weekly occasionally because we wanted to see
what was happening in the paper.
Because we wanted to see the coverage and things. And for a long time it was it's almost like a train wreck.
Did you see that the price went up on the paper?
I did see that.
So that is to encourage you to subscribe than to buy it at the newsstand. But we kind of had to do that. They haven't raised the price of the paper in over 8 years. And I know why they haven't done that, because they do want to make the paper affordable, and so too do I. But the print costs are ridiculous
delivery
right now.
Cost, employees, it's a big deal. I mean,
it is a big engine. Let me say, I do have a good team. They've been working alongside me now for several weeks, and it's a good team.
And it takes a little adjustment, right?
Yeah.
So I mean, it's very, very cool. I was in there with you today and kind of seeing what was going on, but it looks like everybody's working together and trying to get it out, and they're concerned about the deadlines and
problem solving. A lot of problem
we were
solving.
talking about we were talking about some of the business side of it, the background stuff, and then of course. You went out and asked one of the other employees, hey, what about this? And she had a lot of great questions and a lot of showed some concern about, hey, if we do that, it's going to change things a little bit, and how's it going to affect us? And it was good. I mean, just to understand that that's the business and that the business is moving on, and and that you guys are able to.
Evolve. I think that's the key word, is evolve.
Yeah, and it's doing. I feel like it's doing really, really well. I mean, it's still got a ways to go to get the full base back, and but hey,
we have a pretty good base. I mean, a little over 1,800 subscribers that get it in the mail to their doorstep. We print 3,000. They go out to newsstands, and I think we get about probably 40% of those at the newsstands before they come back. So it's and it's paper. So it's the digital space. We'll be up live in February, hopefully, if all things work out. Got to do a little bit of construction, but we should be right where we need to be. So.
Yeah, cool. I mean, I know that there's a lot of other things that you're working on to be able to expand services and offer new ways of getting content and information. And I think that's going to be an awesome. When it's all said and done, I think it's going to be very awesome, and most people are going to be very. They're going to like what they see. It just takes time to get there. So one step at a time. I know that. You're planning on some new things, but right now you're trying to get your grips around the business.
Yeah, and
make sure the costs and things
advertising coming in, and our business customers are satisfied with the product too. That's important. I think we've done pretty good. It is nice to be able to put the legislative updates out there. I've been getting a lot of feedback from that, knowing what legislators are doing.
I appreciate that. So let me. So,
let me make one announcement first before we get rolling. So I did talk to Steve Meredith this week. He has announced publicly, and that will go in next week's paper. But he has announced publicly that he is running for his seat again, and it's important that you know that as a listener that and what he's driving. Forward to continue to improve in the state. He's obviously involved in the medical care of the state and the funding that goes behind that. But he has officially announced it this week. So I am pleased to talk about that on the show tonight. Yep. And then, of course, he is not alone in the race. There's other competition coming in.
And we had we hosted Tom Ballinger, his opponent this last week. In at the Meade County Republican Party meeting.
Yeah.
And so Mr. Ballinger came and introduced himself. I mean, he made a lot of people think in what he was saying. I always take that with a grain of salt, because this is a political it's a political season, and he wants to win, and so he's going to come in and try to differentiate himself by what he's saying, and he's offering some information about Mr. Meredith's record and such, and I think that that's just part of it, and of course Mr. Meredith will come in and he will speak with us here in the coming weeks. He'll be coming on the podcast, and then we're offering it out to Mr. Ballinger in the future as well, to come on and either Zoom in or come into the studio with us. So,
well, I think that all the races now. I think we've heard from Nancy as well. I think we will see some competition in the primaries, but everybody's going to be focused on the presidential election.
Yeah,
that's the sucky part of this year's election year. It does have a presidential election. It takes away a little bit from the local, but I know our candidates are going to get out there and earn your votes. So,
absolutely, they're going to be. They're knocking on doors. I know that Nancy Tate has a great ground game where she likes to knock on the doors personally. She's knocking us on as many doors as possible. But she does have a team that she works with, and Nancy's one of those people who take her job very, very seriously, and she's working. She works very diligently for Meade County and the District 27 as a whole, and I think that you're going to see the same work ethic continue, and
sure.
She's not quite finished. I mean, I know that. I'm sure that she has wants to do other things other than be the House of Representative, our representative in the 27th district at some point in the future. But right now, she is all in, and she wants to make sure that she gives the best representation to all Meade counties, whether you're a Republican or Democrat. And I think that you couldn't ask for a better representative than she is.
Yeah. No, I 100%.
Yeah,
and it's going to be a tough battle for anybody running against her. I think just because of the work she's done and the reputation she's built.
Because she doesn't turn it off. I mean, it's considered a quote unquote part-time job, but when she's home, she's working on things for Meade County. She's finding out. She's working with the Judge Koch. She's working with the Hardin County
Steve Meredith
area. She's working with Senator Meredith. She's working with all the local mayors and
magistrates,
municipalities, the magistrates. She's concerned about what's concerning them, and she wants to know what she could do to help. And she tries to help find solutions. I mean, that's what she's done in her entire career with UPS before she got into politics. Is she was a solution builder. She tried to figure out what identify a problem, and then and then solve that problem for UPS originally, and now for us. And I can't be more proud of the job that she does.
And it's not easy to be an elected official.
It's not. It's not. And I understand
criticism everywhere.
And like I said earlier, you of course you want to differentiate yourself from your opponents. So you have to sometimes you have to dive into that. And the same thing, I'm sure the same thing will happen this year. And so, that's one that goes back to the newspaper. We'll have, I'm sure that we'll see nothing but fair and balanced coverage of the election. That's part of it. And we want to make sure that everybody has an opportunity to hear what the candidates say and go from there. So obviously in this realm, we're Republicans. We're not going to have a Democrat on because this is paid for by the Republican Party.
Sure.
And in this point, but it's a so you're not you're going to definitely hear our candidates and but because we're Republican Party, you will see. In Steve Meredith's race, you'll see Steve Meredith come on the show, and you'll see Tom Ballinger come on the show. We want people to hear what they have to say, and we will do our best to be unbiased and show respect to both candidates, and anything that we offer to one, we'll offer to the other.
Sure. Well, I know I'm kind of excited about the future and what it holds for Meade County. Did you see the news this week about our two individuals that like to spark up attention in Meade County that aren't even from Meade County?
I'm telling you.
I thought we covered it pretty well, but these two knuckleheads had the audacity to not show up for court.
I mean, it was.
I want to say that it was Kimberly Shoemate, the Ninth Judicial District Justice, was brilliant in her work. She called them on the phone and said, "Get your ass here." She said,
not many words, but
I got it. But she basically called them on the phone and said, "You get your attorney. You know where you're at." And you get back here.
Yeah, she said, you were supposed to be here. You knew that.
Yep.
And that you need to, we have the time and we are going to wait for you to get here. How long will it take for you to get here?
That's and get your butt here. Here. Now, obviously, I'm inflating it, but the idea,
not too much. I mean, you could tell she was hot.
She was hot
about it.
She was hotter than a West Texas pistol, man.
She wanted to make sure she was clear, but she was very professional.
100%.
She was very clear that, hey, this is not.
I got it. But they show up. But the point is they acted like they didn't even know what was happening. Look, it was published in the paper. We've talked about it. You've had it on your website. You agreed on it.
They agreed to it.
These knuckleheads are the biggest knuckleheads. Don't deserve the attention that they get.
No.
And I'm so glad that we have. I know it's going to take a while for readers at the Messenger to believe that we're turning the corner here. But first of all, I'm the publisher. Meade Media Group LLC is the owner of the paper, and we do not stand for this type of behavior in our county, and I'm not going to promote it in the paper. So I'm glad to talk about the fact that they got their butt handed to them by this judge, and they're being held accountable.
Yeah, and that's going to move. They moved the venue over to Hardin County, which is
that's fine,
understandable. It's more convenient for everyone because Judge Shoemate is over in Hardin County.
Now they got arrested yesterday evening.
Yeah, it was
Indiana State Police picked them up, and they were arrested on charges: 2 felony counts and 1 misdemeanor count. I had posted that on.
That
Facebook.
is on the when he was going on threatening. Was it both of them, or was it just
Chris?
Just Chris, because he was. That was stemming from where he was trying to dox JJ.
Yep.
And ultimately, he was trying to tell people that it was his house, and he was trying to get people to come out there. And he was saying that he was there on the couch with in his underwear and all this other stuff. I've seen the videos that he posted and stuff, and he was saying all that because he was trying to lure people there to come attack.
Yeah.
And but he showed pictures of JJ's daughter's house and where she lives, and that was it was horrible. It was horrible. So he was trying to basically, it was almost like swatting, but swatting from the public point of view. But Meade County wasn't going to come. Meade County citizens weren't going to come there and attack him. That's just nuts.
Yeah.
Do we like you? No. Do we want you in our community doing what you're doing? No.
No.
Right?
No.
I can't find one person that is on his side.
He's got 2 felony counts of intimidating a witness / participant, and 1 misdemeanor count of disseminating information unlawfully. Now, I got a call from an official last night to make sure that we had it correct with the messenger. And we weren't the breaking news of it. I got at the reputation there doesn't exist to get that type of breaking news now. But we got it right. And honestly, this guy needs to go down. And I got at the comments in here. We had some comments, anyway, they weren't happy about the fact that the paper had put a different spin on it previously, but that's a narrative I have to change.
Yeah, I mean, it's okay. I mean, we've I also saw the video where the editor, the Meade County Messenger
tried to apologize.
Apologized and said, "Listen, I apologize. I didn't have all the facts in my hands, and now I'm looking at this holistically, and that's not the word she used, but in a nutshell, that's kind of what she was saying, and that she was just and I take her for a word. I think that she's you obviously know her way better than I do, and I know that I know that you as the publisher insist on making sure we get these facts in hand and make sure that these things are real. And that we have the information and take most of the opinion out. Op-ed pieces are fine for what they are, but you can't use it to drive information. To just publish information as a that's only half factual, and it wasn't her fault. She was getting information from the couple, and she wasn't getting anything from anyone else. And so she was like, so I understand where she ended up like that, but and Chris and they made it sound like there's all this stuff going on, but they are victims. They have a victim mentality on everything that happens to them. They think that everybody's out to get them. Yeah. Or if they don't, they're using that they're painting that picture so that they can get clicks. And that's the thing, is that they think that they can post anything to their website, but there is laws that keep you from posting somebody's image and likeness and their voice onto your paid website, onto your website is commercially that is making money, and without getting their permission. Okay. Yeah. And so, just because you're in a public place doesn't mean you can take a picture of somebody and put it on your website. Well,
so I had this argument the other day with Julia. She's the editor, of course, the paper, and we're working together to rebuild that relationship that was kind of lost based off of reporting, and that's okay. That was before me. I can't fix that, but we both see eye to eye on moving forward. And when she was about to published this last article, it had talked about how they got arrested, and it had included I read her article before it got published. I do that. And it said something about that they were arrested for not turning off their video equipment. I said, that's not the
what
truth.
It said.
No, I know. And I told her, and I said, we need to fix that. And we both walked back, and I watched the video to show her that that's not what happened. The guy actually got mouthy with the sheriff when the deputy sheriff told them, once you have your paperwork, if you have no further business, I'm going to ask you to leave. Yeah. If you don't leave or you refuse to leave, then I will have to arrest you for disorderly conduct. Very calm, very professionally. He said that. The gentleman, Chris, then responds to the deputy sheriff, well, you need to leave. Just dismiss yourself. And he said that. And the sheriff came back at him and he said, non-physically violent. In fact, I saw the court cameras. If you go, there's several videos of the court cameras that showed this. There was no physical altercation endangering anybody's life on the part of the deputy. He did a simple arrest with some resistance from the plaintiff, and that's what happened. But from the defense, when he looked at him and he said, "I'm going to tell you one more time. Once you get your records and you have everything that you've requested, if you have no further business in the courthouse, I'm going to ask you to leave." I'm not leaving. That was his response, and he said, "Then I'm arresting you for disorderly conduct." and then he threw a big fit.
He said,
And
let's go to jail.
Yeah, that's it. And so and he, you know, Chris.
And then she actually tried to put herself in between and created more. And then she started. She didn't realize that just by starting to yell and scream about it, that created it created the reason for her to go to jail.
Yeah. Well,
so
and it gave them content for their little video escapade. But at the end of the day, though, it was about getting the story right and explaining how what a couple of knuckleheads.
Absolutely.
And that you think that you can come to our county and act this way. It is not okay.
And Meade County does not appreciate that. Most Meade Counties do not appreciate that. And they understand where it is. Even it
Especially
doesn't matter.
the girls that are working behind there. You know what I mean? County work is laboring.
You know, it's sometimes a mind-numbing job.
Yeah.
They're working with things. I don't want to do that job.
Yeah.
You know, I don't want to go in there and just file things all day and answer people's questions about, look things up for people. I mean, that's
sure.
Some people love that. It's not me. And but I'll tell you this. Out of all of this, there was a few, there was a group of protesters that came when they were at court and things, and it was funny, and there's a lot of in the whole pickle thing, because she said, you're going to be in a pickle, and so then they've run with that, the people who are, and there's a group of people out there who are trying to get these people to stop doing this. They're telling the whole story. They're watching. They're showing the evidence of what they did before and tying it together. Yeah. And I applaud those people. And most of them, I don't even think they're really. A lot of them are not even getting paid or anything to do this. This is just something they're doing because they feel like they need to help with the situation.
So I am kind of plugging the snot out of the paper tonight, but so I did get Sheriff Wimpy. There is a article in there, year in review from the sheriff's office. There are legislative updates. Even Mitch McConnell turned in one from their office, which is nice. And there's just a lot more content. Did you notice the one thing that was removed in the last couple of weeks?
I guess I didn't notice.
The mug shots are gone.
Oh.
I took them out after I talked to several folks. We put that paper in the schools and stuff, and there are several mug shots, and nobody wants to see a family member in the paper, especially being distributed in the school, and then that's your cousin, uncle's brother's cat's dog.
Yeah, I mean, I realized that we took like the incidents and stuff had disappeared before you were. Now they're back. So like incident reports,
accident reports. Yeah,
they had gone away for a little while. But yeah, I mean, I don't mind. I mean, I guess I see it a little differently if somewhat. I mean, I think it had gone way overboard that we had so many, so many mugshots for just every little thing. And it's like, hey, if they're violent people that you got to watch out for, or something, and then I would say, you put it in there. But I mean, that maybe you have a mugshot or something. But but the reports were always had that. All the incident reports were always there about who was arrested and things like that. So are the mugshots? Tell me though, were the mugshots like people who were wanted?
No, there were people that were arrested and confined on a charge.
So it's really just it's just a visual of the incident report. So, but you're doing the incident reports, just not the mugshots, right? Mm-hmm. Okay, cool.
Yeah,
I mean, I'm with you. I didn't notice it yet because I just got the paper this afternoon.
Yep. So there's a QR code in there. So
very good, very good. So hey, So I want to switch gears if we can.
Okay, go ahead.
I want to talk a little bit about the upcoming presidential election and such. And
please do.
And polling.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay. Good.
So there was an interesting. There's a gentleman has a YouTube page. The YouTube page is called Election Predictions Official.
Sure.
And what he did, very cool, is he took.
Is it going to be accurate for us so we can have a real?
Well, I mean that's the whole point is to try.
Yeah.
To make it as accurate as possible.
Sure.
So what he did was he went to he took the last three presidential elections: 2012, 2016, and 2020. Took the averages of the most recent polls right before the election. So if it was 4 or 5 polls that came out, he used those averages that we've been seeing for years now, and then he took that and then compared that to the results. He weighted the results. He weighted. So what he was doing is comparing. It was making a bias. He was calculating the bias.
Okay.
Of the poll, right? Not of the media or whatever, but if the poll said it was going to be that Trump was going to get 44%, and Trump got 48%, or vice versa. Actually, if the poll said that Biden was going to get 46% and he only got 42%, then there was a 4-point bias, right? And so what he's done is gone through that. And the last three, weighting and created a bias average.
Sure.
And he weighted the most recent years for more than so 2020 was weighted heavier than 2016. 2016 was weighted heavier than 2012. And so he created this bias. So this bias average, and then he took that number and he's applying it to the current polls. And it actually shows that Donald Trump, based on when you add in the bias, most of the bias that he's found in all the polls lean towards the Democratic Party. So the polls are leaning towards the Democrat, and in a lot of cases it could be 6 or 8 points skewed. And so
kind of Trump uncovered that during the election when they were using the polls to think that Hillary was going to win.
Right. I mean, he exposed it. I mean, we found out at that point that polls, and we always knew that there was a bias. I've always added 2 points. I've always added 2 to 3 points on depending on the poll to understand what the real number was, because you could always look and see that an Emerson poll was off by they were off within the margin of error, but they were still off.
Okay. So did they find the magic sauce?
So it's just an interesting way to do this. So we don't know if it's going to be looking at what he's doing right now. We don't know if how accurate it's going to be until we get to the election, and he'll be able to say, "Hey, is it good?" So anyway, to make the short story or the long story short, or make the short story long, whatever you want to say, I think I don't. We're not going to watch it right now, but I want everybody to go out and look for this. It's election predictions official on YouTube, and the name of the particular video is 2024 election map based on previous polling errors in every state. So it goes and applies it to every state.
Sure.
And right now, I mean, it's showing that Donald Trump is likely to have 350 plus electoral.
Did you see who just walked in the door?
I did. I saw the judge walk in.
I thought I saw
It's like a shadow just in and out.
I know. I wonder if he'll jump in on the microphone.
Yeah. I mean, Judge, you want to come in and say something? We are just talking in general. We're getting ready to wrap up, actually. So if you want to come in and just say hello. We were just talking about polling and such right now. So if you want to take a
tease. I just paid my rent, so we're good. We're good. We're okay to be here, I think. I have to figure out how to take care of that a different way because she's... Anyway, so we announced, obviously, Steve Meredith is running. The paper is up and alive. It's out running some new information. You were actually featured last week's paper with an annual update, and this week we got the sheriff in it. So I know you've been back to work. You talked about a lot of the good things that you were going to be doing in 2024. You're already off to the races. How's that going?
Yeah, we are moving with great
speed,
vigor and speed.
I know.
I just was working on some issues today with Otter Creek Park. Trying to working with Fish and Wildlife to get the lease agreement so we can do the review. But
awesome.
We're in the process of hiring. We should have.
I saw the ad. You're hiring for the grounds too for maintenance at the parks. That's awesome.
So that's that's a big step forward. That'll take place the 1st of March.
Sure,
is when we'll take ownership of the campground, and
that is exciting.
Trying to do everything that is required to be ready to go come March 1st. So
very cool.
Yeah. How about water? I seem to have water this morning, so I don't know.
Well, water. I've been extremely engaged with Brett Piles, sending out. We had same situation kind of take place again last week when we had the cold weather.
Sure.
Where there was a lot more utilization than there was the ability to replace in the towers. So the towers were reducing in level. They were trying to pump in as much water as they could to replace it, and they were just losing ground.
Yeah.
So I think they put out something last week to request for residents to try to conserve their water use.
Well,
because
did we ever run out? We didn't run out.
No, we didn't run out.
It just got a little lighter for a little while, and I mean, I think everybody did their part because it's back in. Yeah, it seems like it's back to normal now.
Yeah, I think I was talking to Mr. Piles, and he said that by today they should be back to the right levels. But they gave an opportunity for us to push out to all of our legislators to Brett Guthrie, Rand Paul,
try to get
Senator
some
McConnell's, Nancy Tate, Steve Meredith.
Yeah.
To let them know that this problem with Meade County still exists.
Yeah.
1/3 of our county is not covered by treated water. We've got about 400.
How many wells? It was astronomical because I saw you talk to Brett earlier this week at the Knox Regional Development Alliance. That was an awesome engagement this week with the Baptist Health. I've got to follow up with him too on another reason, but I know you had the chance to talk to Brett. I saw you in person talking to him, and also Mitch McConnell's aid to get that upper echelon support back to the state, because we do have a lot of infrastructure concerns as a growing county, and our neighbor counties as well. I know they're equally paying attention to both.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of emphasis, but when I look at what Meade County has and what we need, I got to be a little selfish because this is my county.
Yeah.
And so looking at these issues, how do we highlight ourselves to be able to get those infrastructure dollars, those water dollars to come in and improve our situation? We've got 400 cisterns in our county.
I believe it.
I mean, that's 1,500 wells. There's some major issues that we have to fix, and the only way that we can do that is without borrowing.
Sure.
Because if we borrow, we can build infrastructure, but then your water bills are going to go up.
Right, because you have to pay it back.
Absolutely.
100%.
I mean,
so the only other way to do it is to get both federal dollars and state dollars to come down and fix this problem.
Yeah, that's the way. I mean, hopefully we can get that done. But I want to say this. I want to say that, I thought the reaction this time by the water company, by the whole team, was better than it was last time. And what was it in 2022?
22.
Yeah. So I think that when that happened, the things that the water company and you and have all worked together to build communicate quickly, right? Get the word out that we need something. I mean, I noticed it like maybe the day before that the water pressure had dropped just a little bit. In my house, I can see it. I can see it pretty quick because my water pressure is not very good at my house anyway. So and then I didn't even. But I will say this: I didn't see, if it wasn't for Facebook and somebody else shared it, I didn't see it. So I didn't get a phone call. I didn't get anything that said that. I just got so I think maybe there's still a little room there for us to get some little bit better communication. But at least that call went out very quickly so that it could disseminate through those channels.
Correct.
And it got to us, and we said, "Oh well, hey, let's we'll wait and do the laundry later, right? We got plenty of clothes. We have and we just do our normal day-to-day hygiene stuff, right? Not no extra washing and things like that. And I think that's what happened, and everybody seemed to be it seemed to work because everything it's back to normal.
If we were to compare last year, December 22 to this recent week, as much as it was in 24, it's basically the same time frame. Difference is that last time was during the holiday.
Right.
It was also 2 weeks long, and this time it was 1 week long, and it was not necessarily during the holiday. That some of the commonality of it is the kids were off from school, so that was a commonplace. But we can see how delicate our water system is.
Yeah, I mean
Yeah.
That's why it's that was why it was an issue that you took to heart immediately and started looking at how do we get this thing in 2050, right? How do we get this thing ready? Because we've got to be prepared. If we're going to grow, we got to if there's going to be growth, whether or not we want it or not, and whether or not I want it or you want it or anybody out there wants it, the growth is going to come. The communities don't. They're not going to. The community is not just going to die. Right. So you gotta be prepared for it. You got to make sure that you have the right infrastructure, the right planning for it. I mean, right now we're behind because we've been behind for a long time. But I still think that the fact that the communication went out and it got to people, we all reacted and did our part. Most of us did our part to allow it to kind of like get that balance back. And you said it wasn't, it was the holidays. It was 2 weeks long, but I think the fact that there wasn't that communication as to do that.
That was a huge problem, Mark, and that was something that.
That's why it was 2 weeks instead of 1 week. And wasn't even
with the water company last year and doing an after-action review. That was one of the big issues that we talked about was the communication issue, and they've spent a lot of time and money on how to better do that. Tying in with our 911 services, Code Red, and
Code Red's cool.
Really looking at that from that perspective, and they've utilized that system now a couple different times.
Yeah.
But just to make a point, and we can say whatever we want to, but I will tell you that again, we still have a single point of failure, and that's our Flaherty water,
the pump
house,
the pipe. Yep.
And as I was trying to state to all of our elected representatives, this problem's still in existence. And, if we take that and it failed today, we would lose 24,000 customers would not have water.
Yeah.
That's a pretty substantial amount.
Yeah, I mean, because that's is that people or is that homes?
That's people.
People. I think there's like around 14,000 homes.
Correct.
15,000 with businesses and stuff on top of that.
You add
2.3 people per house, right?
And so it's that's pretty significant.
Yeah. Cool. Well, I think you're doing a killer job.
I do too.
Yeah.
I appreciate it.
Yeah. And I know I'm watching you in action too, so I get to see it a little bit differently than the typical viewer. But keep the updates coming. They'll keep going in the paper, and we'll get the studios getting ready to move. I don't know if you know that or not, but it's going over to Messenger Studios. I don't know if you're aware of that, but that's happening pretty soon. So we'll be up and live in February. And then, of course, Mead Truth will have a new location to broadcast from, too. So
excellent.
Studio will be pretty awesome. So I got a little help in design.
Just be right down the street from you now.
Yeah, that's right. You can come out. You can be like,
be easier to drop in.
I need to make a judge executive announcement. It's going live. Yep. And we set you up on the cameras. It'll be very cool. So, but anyway, hey, listen, everybody, it's been an amazing show. Mark, I know it's been short-lived because we've been going 100 miles an hour.
We got about 45 minutes or so, about 40 minutes or so in. So we did good.
We did good.
Hey, we'll be back again next week, guys. We're going to make sure that we do this at least, try to get this back on schedule where we're doing at least a weekly.
Yeah. We may move to Wednesday nights because if we're not doing church.
Well, it depends on, depends. We'll have to work on it. That's
really
the problem.
Trying to figure out the schedule now because we had some life changes that have adjusted our schedules.
Yeah, it's been, the messenger, our church, things like that. So it's as those schedules change, we try to make sure that we try to find balance and unfortunately, it affects when we can get here.
Yeah, we're like juggling.
But we're every time you throw a new ball into the mix, we eventually figure it out. So we'll be back. That's right. So Judge Coke, thanks for dropping in with us.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, I'm glad to have you anytime. Well, that's it for tonight, folks. Have a great weekend, and go get you a newspaper.
Peace.
$1.50 at the newsstand, or you could subscribe and get one heck of a deal.
We do not take advertisements on this show.
Yes, we do.
No.
I just did. I can.